You're listening to Weird Medicine with Dr. Steve on the Riotcast Network, riotcast.com.
I need some touching in the garage.
I've got diphtheria crushing my esophagus. I've got Ebola virus dripping from my nose. I've got the leprosy of the heart valve, exacerbating my incredible woes. I want to take my brain out and blast it with the wave, an ultrasonic echographic and a pulsating shave. I want a magic pill for all my ailments, the health equivalent to Citizen Kane. And if I don't get it now in a tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want a requiem for my disease, so I'm paging Dr. Steve.
Dr. Steve, take a cow for
It's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show in the history of broadcast radio and now a podcast. I'm Dr. Steve with my little pal Dr. Scott, the traditional Chinese medical practitioner who keeps the alternative medicine wackos at bay. Hello, Dr. Scott.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
We also have she who has charmed comedians in two states, who will do most anything for a glass of expensive wine. It's Lady Di-agnosis.
Hello, Dr. Steve.
This is a show for people who would never listen to a medical show on the radio or the internet. If you've got a question you're embarrassed to take to your regular medical provider, if you can't find an answer anywhere else, give us a call at 347-766-4323. That's 347-POOHEAD. Oh, sorry.
Poohead.
If you're listening to us live, the number is 754-227-3647. That's 754.
22 penis.
Yay! That's how many Lady Di-agnosis likes. Or 754 Bear Nip, which is what I like. Follow us on Twitter at Weird Medicine, at Lady Di-agnosis, and at DrScottWM, and visit our website at weirdmedicine.com for podcast, medical news, and stuff you can buy, or go to our merchandise store at cafepress.com/weirdmedicine. Most importantly, we are not your medical providers. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Don't act on anything you hear on this show without talking it over with your doctor, nurse practitioner, physician assistant, pharmacist, chiropractor, acupuncturist, yoga master, physical therapist, or whatever. Very good. All right. So first, don't forget Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. That's simplyherbals.net. You got anything new on there? You don't really need anything new.
No, that nasal spray is doing the labor.
Are you doing okay with that nasal spray?
Yep.
Really?
It. Yep.
It's what, $6?
Yeah, I think $7.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty
Something
good.
like that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I don't know how you can make money selling something for $7, but unless you've got 50 cents in
Not
it.
easily. You got to sell a whole shit ton.
But anyway, check it out. It's by far the best saline nasal spray on the market. Cleans your Have you seen?
Smells good.
By the way, that new thing that they've got, it's the automated neti pot. You know how Pilates became sort of this mechanized version of yoga where people, the yoga guys from India come over here and they're horrified seeing people hooked up to all these pulleys and shit, pulling their limbs apart. And there is now a mechanized version of the neti pot. And you put saline or distilled water in one thing, and it shoots water in one nostril and sucks it back out the other nostril, and then deposits the filth, the mucus-filled water in a different bucket or a different little place in there. I'm going to get one. We need to get one and try it on the air.
Does it wipe your butt too? Well,
I think it would be a very good
That'd be
bidet.
a good idea.
It shoots and sucks at the same
thinking,
time.
Shoots and sucks.
do either end. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So we
don't
need to
care.
get one,
Does
and
it-
I can write it off, and we need to try it. Lady Di-agnosis, you're going to do it?
I'll do it.
Oh,
We're
really?
gonna,
Okay.
we're gonna put my solution in there. See if it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we can actually do that, but you put like 3 cups of fluid in
Oh,
here.
God, no, we
it
can't put my stuff in
shoots.
there. No.
We could put a little bit of your additives.
Concoction.
Yeah.
Concoction.
Anyway. All right. Well,
Dilute
listen, we have a guest, and I don't want to keep him waiting any longer because this is a big deal for me. This is Bruce Prichard. He's the brother of Dr. Tom Prichard, known for his work in the WWF and the Heavenly Bodies and as a trainer for Deep South Wrestling in the WWE. But Bruce himself is known for his nom de wrestling as WWE's Brother Love, the original manager of The Undertaker. So, Bruce, thanks for being on our show. What are you up to now?
Well, Doc, thanks for having me on the show, first of all. But
Of course.
right now, man, the main thing that I'm doing is hosting a podcast myself. Now, I'm not big time on Sirius like you guys are. I've just got my own podcast. It's called Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard. and we just tell stories about yesteryear in the wrestling business. Over 44 years in this crazy business, I have a few stories.
Dude, you got to have me on. You know, when Shuley hooked the two of us up, he had no idea that I had a history in classic wrestling, and at least in the 70s. Mm-hmm. I was a cameraman and audio engineer for WRAL TV, where we did Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling and Wide World of Wrestling. And our stable of wrestlers were no other than Ric Flair, Blackjack Mulligan, Rufus R. Jones, Mr. Wrestling Tim Woods, Ricky Steamboat, Wahoo McDaniel, and a host of others. And I do have a few stories to tell.
That was a hell of a crew.
Yeah, it was awesome. And before we're done, I want to tell you my Brute Bernard story, because he was
Brute was a little crazy.
Yeah, he wasn't in our group, but you know, we would hire people to come in. We the time I met Andre the Giant was really stunning, because I walk in the studio. And
he's massive.
He was leaning up against the wall, and my brain did a double take, because you don't expect to see somebody that gigantic.
Right,
he truly was a giant. He literally was a giant, 7'6".
Oh my God!
And you know, you're used to seeing people fit into a certain bell curve.
Sure.
And he just blew the bell curve all to hell. And he was a very nice guy. Of course, our guys beat him. I think Greg Valentine wrestled him and beat the shit out of him, because that was the thing. If you hired somebody from the outside, they were going to lose. They weren't going to win.
But I bet nobody body slammed him that day, did they?
Bounce off him, maybe.
Well, you know, I'm not even letting our guests talk, because you got me all excited about the old days.
I'm listening. I'm listening to your stories. I was going to share my favorite Andre the Giant story, which was Andre being on a plane, and he was seated in first class and going to sit down, and he was kind of messing with things in the middle. The flight attendant asked him if she could bring him anything, and he said, "Yeah, I'll take a screwdriver." And she left, and she came back and was passing out everyone's drinks, and came to Andre and handed him a Phillips head screwdriver. And he looked at it, and he said, "What's this?" And she said, "You asked for a screwdriver." And he holds the screwdriver and looks at it for a second and says, "What would you bring me if I ask for Bloody Mary?"
That's brilliant.
Oh my God!
Kind of sums the boss up in one quick fell swoop.
Yeah,
story.
No, he had a good sense of humor. Well, and I know you called for a specific reason, but let's trade a couple of stories before we do. Let me tell you my Brute Bernard story, right? So,
and then I've got one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I was when I was a kid in Michigan, I used to watch wrestling on a little 13-inch black and white TV, and Brute Bernard would be on whatever. I don't know what group this was, because I was a kid, didn't pay attention to it. I just knew it was wrestling, and Brute Bernard was this big, stocky, bald dude, and he never spoke. His partner would be up there going, Blackjack Mulligan, if you're listening, or whoever he was yelling at, and then Brute would be just strutting around behind him, going around in circles like an animal, and every once in a while he would stop and he would go, "Ah!" and just make this animalistic noise. And I remember watching him wrestle some guy, and he bit his hand.
Oh my!
And saliva and just, some sort of, fluid was spraying out of there, and it scared the shit out of me. I was a little kid. He terrified me.
Oh my God.
So when I'm working at WRAL, I heard that we had hired Brute Bernard to do a session with us. And I was kind of freaked out, because this guy throughout my childhood had been sort of the stuff of nightmares, right?
Oh my gosh.
So I knew he was up in the dressing room getting ready. And so there was a big metal stair that came down into the main studio, and I waited out there to see this guy, right? And here he comes, Brute Bernard, the object of my nightmares throughout my childhood, is wearing a silk smoking jacket. He's got a cigarette in a cigarette holder.
No
right?
way.
He's got these big, thick glasses on, and he's holding a copy of the Wall Street Journal.
Oh, my God. Fear be gone.
And I was like, Mr. Bernard, sir, can I get your autograph? He's like, sure, kid.
Oh,
and that was it.
God.
So it kind of dissolved my nightmares, but it was just a sweet guy. He was just doing a damn job,
That's funny.
It's not much of a story, but it's more about me than it was about him.
I got one about
it's
me.
about the perception and what you thought.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he was perfect at it. I mean, I bought it hook, line, and sinker. It's just like, I guess there were kids out there that believed Baron von Raschke could actually, make somebody faint by holding the claw over their head.
Oh, no. That's good stuff.
Or that Boris, what was the guy's name? The Polish prince. What was his name, Bruce?
There was Ivan Koloff, Boris Malenko, quite a few, yeah.
Well, there was one guy was the Polish prince, and he would always be gnawing during we would do these commercials, right, for the live shows. That's where they made all the money. Were in the theaters or in the arenas.
Sure.
And he would always be gnawing on this Polish sausage.
Yep.
And he never took a bite of it and actually chewed it and swallowed it. He would just kind of gnaw on it. It was really kind of gross. And I remember one day I was cleaning up the living room set, which was right next to where we filmed the wrestling commercials. And I picked up the cushion of the couch, and there was Mighty Igor. That was it. The Polish prince.
Mighty Igor, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was his Polish sausage under it. So what the son of a bitch was doing, and he was from Kernersville, North Carolina, by the way.
Oh my God.
As far away from Poland as you could possibly get. And every week he would pull that sausage out and gnaw on it for a while and then shove it back
Oh, gross.
Oh my God, that's gross.
under the cushion. And then the next
That's
week he'd come and get it
horrendous.
out again.
Oh my God.
It was horrendous.
Oh.
Hey, I've got to pipe in.
Okay.
Hey, Bruce, this is Dr. Scott.
Hey, Dr. Scott.
Hey, it's wonderful to talk to you. Back in the mid 80s, I played baseball, actually late 80s, at Western Kentucky University, which is in Bowling Green, which is where I got to meet Hillbilly Jim. And he still to this day is a friend of mine. But in college at Western Kentucky, was the heyday
Who's
of wrestling.
Hillbilly Jim? I never heard of him.
He's got a show on the Outlaw radio station that.
Was he a wrestler?
He was a wrestler, huge wrestler. He was a great big old.
Okay.
He wore clodhoppers and overalls into the ring, and he was just a huge dude too. He was from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Played baseball and football up there, or basketball and football. But so my nickname in college, because it was the heyday of the wrestling, was Fitzy Mania, because I was the strongest force on our baseball team, and so instead of the strongest force universe, it was Fitzy Mania. So to this day, anybody that calls me, it says, "Hey, Fitzy Mania," I know when
you know where you knew him
I know
from.
where I know him from. Yeah. So but Hillbilly Jim's a wonderful guy. He is, and he talks more than any human I've ever met.
Wow. Hey, Bruce, do you remember when Paul Jones turned bad? That was during my years when I was there. He became, he was a baby face and then turned into a heel and then turned back around again. And see, the thing that I was always explained to my friends was that wrestling was kind of a soap opera for redneck men and adolescents. Because they would set up these rivalries on the TV show and then they would play them out at the arenas. And so they would get people to want to go there. So it was brilliant marketing. They would have cliffhangers.
Oh, yeah.
And, somebody'd turn on somebody and it's like, Wahoo McDaniel, if you're listening, we're going to fight it out in a Texas chainsaw match at Dorton Arena. And the funny thing is, of course, Wahoo McDaniel was listening. He was sitting right there. We couldn't separate them. They were all working together. They would all sit at these little tables. And Gene and Ole Anderson would hand out sandwiches and stuff. And Gene Anderson would call the people up. Okay, this next one's Blackjack Mulligan and Rufus R. Jones. And then they'd get up and they'd do their thing. And we had to do 70 of them because we would send these shows out to 35 different markets.
Wow.
And each market needed 2 commercials to do Dorton Arena or Charlotte Coliseum or whatever.
Wow.
And that's where they made the money. At that time, they actually lost money on these things.
Jeez.
Anyway.
Hey, Bruce, you have any good Hillbilly Jim stories?
I think that the best Hillbilly Jim story was in later years, Hillbilly, the real Jim Morrison who played Hillbilly Jim on TV, was about as opposite of Hillbilly Jim, the character, as you could get.
Oh, yeah.
And he later on went to work for a company called Coliseum Video that produced the videotapes for the WWF at the time. And one of our writers, Brian Gewirtz, says to us one time, because Jim would show up, he said, "Do you think we might be able to get Hillbilly Jim back and not the guy that runs the porn arcade down on the street?" Because Jim would come in and he would have his hair all slicked back and wearing a bunch of gold chains and a silk flowery shirt and everything. "Hey, everybody, how you doing?"
Yep.
He resembled the guy at the local strip club or at the porn arcade on the corner. "Hey, y'all come on in here. We got a special 2 for 1.
Yeah, Barker.
And he had that old crazy hair slicked back. He looked like he came straight up like an Italian.
Do you know this guy?
Yeah,
you're still friends with him?
Yeah, I called him. I called him Wednesday. I didn't talk to him, but
we need to have him on the show.
Massage, yep. He's got a huge show.
He's great.
He is. He's got a great show on that he does. It's called the Moonshine Matinee on Sirius XM channel 60.
Well, yeah. Bruce, I've totally monopolized this conversation.
Nice talking to you, Bruce.
Sorry, Bruce. Call back anytime.
Hey, guys.
What can we do for you?
Thanks. We're going to be at Barclays Center in Brooklyn on January.
There you go.
Now, I know you called for a reason. Did you want to get your medical thing out of the way first, or do you want to plug your gig at the Barclays Center? Which, by the way, Bruce's podcast, they get 1 million listeners a week.
Wow.
We get about 1 million a year. So they've got 50 times our audience. So I don't know how we can help him, but we're always happy to plug our friends' gigs. So.
And this is actually, we're doing a gig in Brooklyn on Friday, January 19th, and it's a partnership with the Brooklyn Nets and Barclays Center. So you get an NBA basketball game, and then right after it, you get a live version of our show. And it's going to be the first time we're doing anything like this. Tickets start only $35. Get them at boxofgimmicks.com, but it's basketball and live Bruce Prichard right afterwards, which is always a lot of fun. And we're going to have a huge special guest and a ton of fun.
Wow. So
in Brooklyn, so it's going to be a blast. January 19th. You should be there.
Boxofgimmicks.com.
Know it.
Is that it?
You're not going to forget that one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it.
.com.
And then, getting to my medical question.
Yeah, man.
Okay, and I just getting over this, but gout. And for whatever reason, I've gone through the thing, and now I'm convinced that it's just Atlantic shrimp or frozen shrimp that comes anywhere from the Gulf.
Yes.
Dr. Scott also has gout.
I can eat all the Gulf shrimp in the world. Nothing.
That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, Dr. Scott also has gout.
Yes.
And have they confirmed that you have elevated uric acid levels? And, have they confirmed that it's truly gout? Because there are some people that are called gout that turns out they really aren't, and they get treated inappropriately.
Right.
Yes, they have, and I've actually been prescribed allopurinol as well that I take daily.
And I'm going to bet that you're actually not an overproducer, which is what allopurinol. Okay, so let's talk about gout for a second.
Yeah.
So gout is an abundance of a breakdown product of protein called uric acid or urate. And when uric acid builds up, it can collect in the joints, and it can precipitate, just like those experiments we had when we were in chemistry as kids. You put two things together, and it would precipitate crystals out of solution. And it'll precipitate in the joints out in the periphery because it's so far away from the rest of the body, and it's,
And typically in the toes and ankles and feet because of gravity. Yeah.
So it is extremely painful. People will tell you that it's the worst pain they've ever experienced, that they can't even stand to have a sheet touch their toe, and it's usually in the big toe, although I've seen it in knees.
I've seen it in a hip. I've seen it in a sternum.
I saw it in a guy that had it in every joint of his hands and feet, and had these big giant things called tophi, which are collections of uric acid crystals. So there's only two ways you can get an elevated uric acid level in your body. One is that you produce too much. Those are called overproducers. Very fancy medical
doctor
term.
talk.
And then another way is to excrete too little. In other words, not pissing out enough for whatever reason. And those people are called, figure it out.
Under excretors.
Under excretors.
Right.
Very good. Very good, Lady Di-agnosis. So,
wow.
The vast majority of people are under excretors, but the vast majority of people are treated as if they were overproducers. And the reason for that is the allopurinol does work either way.
Well,
it just doesn't attack the underlying problem, which I like to do. Go ahead, Dr.
Right,
Steve.
and I was going to add to that too, Bruce. Where Dr. Steve is going with this is a lot of people get the allopurinol because that's kind of the standard go-to. A lot of doctors
gout
are not
allopurinol. It's a knee-jerk thing.
It is. It's a knee-jerk thing, and
gout allopurinol.
they don't worry about checking the other stuff. One thing that I will tell you, and this is certainly from personal experience. If that allopurinol does not work or control it completely, then you need to have them, and this is thanks to Dr. Steve. He taught me into doing this. I actually did a urine test, a 24-hour urine test, and they put me on an old medicine called probenecid, which it binds to the uric acid crystals in the kidneys, and you flush it out. So you actually pee out the uric acid, so you don't. It's not. I don't worry about producing too much. I just pee out all of it.
Probenecid makes you excrete more,
Right.
and if you're an under-excreter, it seems to
it's a miracle
to fit the paradigm that we want to treat the underlying problem.
Right.
The interesting thing about probenecid is if you take penicillin, you won't excrete it. It'll block the excretion of penicillin. Mm-hmm. We used to do this all the time with people with VD and stuff. We would give them a probenecid and then give them a shot of penicillin.
Right.
And it'll hang around longer and kill all the naughty germs. But the probenecid enhances the excretion of uric acid. So it's just interesting how these things work.
And can I address the shrimp thing too? I don't know if you know this or not, Bruce, but shrimp are really high in purines. And I would guess that those Atlantic, shrimps may have a higher level of purines than Gulf shrimp or something. But I haven't touched a shrimp in about 10 years because of this shit.
And you still get gout, though.
And but thank God I have not had a flare since we started probenecid.
Yeah,
since the last time Lady Di-agnosis and GVAC had to carry me down the steps.
I'm giving that to myself.
And that is Dr. Steve. Thanks to him. Yes, absolutely.
So, and then the question.
I like it.
Yeah.
The question, Bruce, is does it happen often enough for you to take something every day to prevent it? Mm-hmm. Or is it severe enough when it happens that you want to take something every day to prevent it? Because if it only happens once every 6 months, it is kind of silly to take a pill every day to prevent something that's going to happen every 6 months.
Right.
Because there are medications that you can take when it happens to knock out, but those didn't work for Dr. Scott.
No, they did not.
When he had his big attack a couple of years ago, when he was in here, I prescribed the stuff that is supposed to abort an attack, and it did nothing.
No, didn't touch it.
So
where do you get your gout there, Bruce?
Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take. Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor, you can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those lofted ceilings, but I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
Right, my left big toe and my ankle.
Isn't the ankle the worst?
It's painful.
It's horrible.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah. How often do you get your gout?
See, I haven't had a flare up in a long time, and
good.
that's kind of the only thing that was different was we went out and we I'm a stickler on what I eat, and especially when it comes to seafood, because I live on the Gulf. I only like Gulf shrimp, and we went to a place, and as soon as I bit into it, I knew this is frozen Atlantic shrimp, because I could tell the difference. And I ate it, didn't think anything of it because I hadn't had a flare up in a while, and lo and behold, 24 hours later, I was hobbling.
Yeah.
Well,
How long does it last when you get the symptoms? Is it like a week?
Yes.
Oh, man.
And that sucks.
It's horrible.
It does
It's horrible, yeah. Especially, I tell people, you think gout hurts when it's in your toe, but wait till it gets to your ankle.
Yeah.
And then it's
or knee.
Oh, and then the knee is even worse. And Bruce, I'll tell you a couple lifestyle things. You said you're pretty diligent as far as your diet, but exercise. As long as I'm exercising, moving, and pumping blood through my legs and feet, I tend to not have near the issues. If I'm sedentary, sitting on planes and stuff, I'm at a high risk for sure for the gout. So staying active is huge.
Well, Brother Love is
doing those
working out.
Yeah, doing those. You're flying Russian sickles and all those wonderful moves you guys can do.
Well, God bless, and if there are medications that you can take if you have an attack. There's two of them, anti-inflammatories. A lot of times that's the only time we'll prescribe an anti-inflammatory called indomethacin.
Indomethacin, I was just going to say. Yeah.
That's a hardcore anti-inflammatory, old school. It's hard on your system, but it works for gout like almost nothing else does. Yes, and then colchicine. Colchicine is the other thing. You have to take it till you puke, though, and I don't like to puke.
Shit yourself to death.
Or shit yourself, right.
Yeah.
Now, they can give you IV colchicine, and it bypasses all of the GI effects, but that can only be done in an emergency room with cardiac monitoring because it increases your risk of having a heart attack in the short term. So it's not something we do lightly, but if someone comes in with gout in the knee and they're in excruciating, writhing around pain, they'll walk out pain-free.
Yep.
So, but anyway. All right. Hey, Bruce, plug your gig again, and we got to have you on.
Guys, it is.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I love it. I love it. Hey, we're going to be in New York City, Brooklyn, at Barclays Center on Friday night, January 19th. Get tickets at boxofgimmicks.com. It's a doubleheader with the Brooklyn Nets. They're going to be facing the Miami Heat that night. And right after the game, you get a ticket to the game and a ticket to see us live. That's myself and Conrad Thompson with our special guest. It's going to be a surprise, and people that are big into our show, they have to be there to see it because they don't want to read about it the next day and wish they were there. And tickets start at only $35 at boxofgimmicks.com, and we just want everybody to come on out and join us live.
And where can they hear your podcast? You got a million listeners. They already know.
Hey, they can hear our podcast at somethingtowrestle.com, and it drops every Friday at noon. And if you like the podcast and you want to support the show and get some of the greatest T-shirts in the world, then go on over to brucepritchard.com. Don't put a T in my name. Put one on your back. Bruce Prichard.
Well, I'm going to have to
hey, you got to get all the plugs in.
Oh, my God. All right, that's horrendous.
All right, buddy. Hey, listen, it was great having you on. If you see Shuli, tell him I said hello, and we'd love to
You'll be there.
We'd love to have you back on and talk classic wrestling again.
Absolutely.
Sometime.
Maybe he'll let you talk
Thank
next time.
you very much. I appreciate the time.
Hey, we hope you feel better, Bruce.
All right, buddy.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
What a cool guy.
Shoot, that was great. Those old school wrestling days, man.
I never have an opportunity to talk old school wrestling. No. That's how Sam Roberts and
You
I
get all
became
excited.
friends.
I love it.
I do.
I know.
I loved that old stuff with Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's the only person that ever body slammed Andre the Giant.
Oh, really?
He literally got him up in the air.
What?
Yeah,
I'd like to see that.
Got him up and slammed him. It was
you do a suplex on him.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I do get excited because it's one of those things that at the time I was like, how the fuck can I get out of here?
Right.
But in the rear view mirror retrospectoscope, I was involved in something that he's got 1 million people that listen to the stories just like that because I was there.
Yep.
You know?
And it's a huge business to this day.
Yeah.
Hey, they love it. People just love it.
Well, the TV shows then were a loss leader. They would pay to put the TV shows on just to get people into the arenas. That's why they never resolved any of the conflicts on the TV show. They'd only set them up.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's good stuff.
All right.
Thank you, Bruce.
Well, you want to do a dang phone call
Let's
or
do a
something?
phone call.
All right. Here we go.
Number one thing, don't take advice from some asshole on the radio.
All right. We won't, Dr. Bennett.
Hi, Dr. Steve. Mike from Massachusetts here. If you can answer this on the podcast, that'd be awesome. Just got a really quick question for you. Curious on your opinion on creatine for working out. I was told that it might help to increase my size. I'm kind of scrawny, and I've been working out like a crazy person, doing my best to look better. I heard it might help, but I also know there's no free lunches in nature. And if I'm using it, I'm probably dying in another way. So curious on yours.
Not necessarily on this one. Creatine is a nitrogenous organic acid, and it helps to transport energy from one part of the cell to the other, particularly in muscle cells. And there are, I probably need to take this stuff because I'm fucking old. I realized the other day, Lady Di-agnosis, and this was sad. I could get Social Security. At 62, you can start getting Social Security.
Yep.
Wow.
And I was telling this to Tacey in my self-deprecating, fucking A, I could get Social Security. And she's like, well, do you want to get Social Security? And it's like, no,
That's not the point.
The point is,
I'm old.
That's
You're
how old
old.
I am.
Yeah.
It's an old joke, not actually, I want to start getting, cashing my Social Security checks in. But, there are some evidence that it might prevent skin aging and multiple sclerosis patients may benefit from it if only that it optimizes muscle strength. And a lot of athletes will use it to assist with high intensity training, and it can cause body mass increase. So people would tell me, well, don't take creatine because it causes renal failure. Well, I looked it up. There was indeed one case of somebody that had end-stage renal failure after using creatine. We don't know what their other risk factors were, but that's the only case I could ever find. So out of the hundreds of millions of people that have used creatine, one person had an adverse effect from it. So you want to buy it from a reputable source, of course. And
can you overtake it? Use it too much?
I think you can overtake anything.
Sure.
But what would the effect be? Maybe that's what he's thinking.
It could possibly be hard on your kidneys because the kidneys have creatine anyway.
Well, that's creatinine.
Or creatinine.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
We took creatine in college.
Yeah.
Working because we used to do a lot of heavy lifting, and it seemed to help as far as recovery.
It appears to be safe in moderate doses, but of course, like everything else in this sort of realm,
I go low.
Long-term safety hasn't been proven.
Yep.
So it's just 3 amino acids. It's arginine, glycine, and methionine. And it's actually, you have it in your body now. It's about 1% of the total volume of the human blood. So, there's lots of it in your body. So when you're supplementing, you're just increasing your levels of something that you already have.
Right.
All right?
Cool.
Okie doke. Well.
Is that all for today?
No.
Hey, Dr. Steve. I'm listening to your podcast from a few weeks back. A caller had called in talking about he quit smoking cigarettes and started smoking e-cigarettes. I pretty much did the same thing. I haven't smoked a real cigarette since 2013.
Good.
So it's been over 4 years now. The thing is, these e-cigarettes, I'm probably more hooked on these than I was actual cigarettes. The thing is, the actual cigarettes, it's a measured thing. Like, if I'm smoking one while I'm taking a dump, I know I'm smoking one cigarette. Where the e-cigarettes, I'm puffing on this thing.
That's a great
constantly. So it's probably even worse. I tried quitting a few months back, and it was definitely harder than when I quit smoking real cigarettes.
This is the problem with this stuff. First off, we don't know what the fuck we're dealing with. And I see these people now with these ornate e-cigs and with these big tanks on them where they can just puff on it all day long, and they're just blowing out. The bigger the cloud of, it's not smoke, but of mist that they can blow out, the cooler it is. And it's become kind of this hipster thing. You know, oh, I have my clarinet-shaped vape pen. I think I'll take a toot on it. And it's like, come on, cut the fucking shit. There is no way that having that much of whatever that is, and I think it's ethylene glycol is part of it, can in the long run be good for you. It may not be bad for you, but it certainly isn't good for you. And it may actually be bad for you, particularly the people that are inhaling vegetable oils and stuff to flavor these things. So I'm not a namby-pamby, just say no type. But I think that this guy particularly, he went to a nicotine vape pen, and now he's addicted to it. So that should be relatively easy. I believe that you can decrease the concentration of the vapor, and you could just do that slowly, just like tapering cigarettes. And use a measured device. Don't get one of those ones with the big giant tank.
Endless tank.
You want to get one where you have to replace the little capsules and start decreasing the nicotine value. And he should be able to get off of that. And again, nicotine withdrawal is very uncomfortable, but that's all it is. It's just uncomfortable.
It's not dangerous.
Right.
Exactly, yep.
Not like... I mean, you're in danger of being an asshole.
Yeah.
But it's not dangerous like
more than
benzodiazepine withdrawal or alcohol withdrawal can be. So I highly recommend once you realize that you're hopelessly addicted to something, that's the time when you need to start making a plan to get off of it. So I would look at the e-cigarettes that have the replaceable capsule and look for ones that have different nicotine values and just start decreasing it and get off of it. There's no proof that e-cigs cause popcorn lung yet, but there is some concern that there may be some long-term deficits to using e-cigs. So I hope that it doesn't do something like cause pulmonary fibrosis, because that may actually be worse than what cigarettes do. So I'm just saying, I hope, look, if you're an e-cig manufacturer, God bless you, I guess. Particularly if you are importing these things legally and selling them legally in the United States. R.J. Reynolds, way back in the day, back in the 70s, I think, was going to come out with, listen to this, I remember this description. They were going to have a cigarette that was a metal tube that had a red light on the end of it and that would heat up a capsule of water and nicotine, and then you would inhale it like a regular cigarette. That was an e-cigarette. They applied for FDA approval, and they got turned down. Now, would things be different if they had gotten FDA approval? I don't know. We would at least have some long-term safety data at this point. So, tar causes cancer. Nicotine promotes cancer. And nicotine increases risk of cardiovascular disease. So the good thing about vape pens is they don't have tar in them, but they do have this other stuff that we don't really know what inhaling it does. But I understand it feels just like you're smoking. You get that full feeling in your lungs, and then you blow it out, and you get that emptying feeling. I remember. I mean, hell, I smoked 3 packs a day. So anyway, I'm concerned about it. But that's what he needs to do to get off that. Or go get nicotine gum and then get addicted to it like Rich Voss.
It's got to be better.
Yeah.
All right.
Back it off.
All right. Couple of things. Don't forget stuff.drsteve.com if there's anything that you didn't get for the holidays that you wanted. Buy it for your damn self. You're an adult. And go to stuff.drsteve.com, formerly known as amazon.drsteve.com. And use that link to do all your Amazon shopping. Also, tweakedaudio.com, offer code FLUID. I want to play you guys this. Where is that? Here, check this out.
Hey, Dr. Steve and crew. I wanted to wish you guys a happy holidays.
Hey,
also, wanted to say thank you for the promo code for Tweaked Audio. My $40 earbuds just dropped down to $26 with free shipping. So thank you again, and happy holidays to all you guys.
Yeah, and Tweaked Audio, I thought they were in California somewhere. They're in Franklin, Tennessee. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Lady Di-agnosis is,
Yeah.
So help out a local business and the best earbuds for the price on the market and the best customer service anywhere. Everyone raves about their customer service. Go to tweakedaudio.com and use offer code FLUID for 33% off anything that you buy. Don't forget Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. And if you're interested in Blue Apron, go to blueapron.com/medicine for 3 free meals and free shipping on your first order. And if you're interested in getting archives for our show, I know Voss has decided to destroy the paywall. We're going to keep it up because for 2 reasons. We have a lot of people who are using it. It's not fair to them for us to just say, oh, well, now everybody can have this stuff for free. But also, this keeps our employers from being able to go more than 5 shows back to listen to what we do. So go to premium.drsteve.com for $1.99. You get all the premium content. Well, I say all the premium content. I think there's 10 premium shows on there. We really should do some more premium content. And but you have access to all the archives going all the way back to the very beginning. And ETN comedy stuff, we have the funniest person in the Tri-Cities in its entirety on the premium side.
Is our show where we were drinking on that behind the paywall?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, the one that I had to cut off halfway through.
The one that we didn't really do?
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
It's one of my favorite shows. I was making fun of my wife slurring her words, and she in the studio she started screaming, "You know what, Steve? I hate you. I hate you." And it just wasn't fun. And so on the show that you actually get to hear, it goes, you hear me making fun of her slurring, and you just hear her going, "You know what, Steve? And then it goes, and it starts playing clown music. So,
that was fun, though.
Yeah, it was very much fun.
If you don't get your feelings hurt.
Yeah. Nope. And so check out premium.drsteve.com. You want to play a song, Dr. Scott?
Sure.
All right. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Let's do it. You going to fade us out?
Yeah, I'll fade us out at the end. Okay, first off, let's get you...
There you go.
And let's get you some reverb, Dr. Scott. And there you go.
Oh, nice.
That's much better.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I have something. If you have a friend that's into music and you want to get them a toy that's not a toy, get for under, I think it's $50. You can get a teenage engineering synthesizer. These are little pocket synthesizers, and that's what we're going to use today to keep Dr. Scott on the rhythm. And this one's called the Pocket Operator Tonic, and you can do up to 16 different rhythms. You can do special effects for each one. We're just going to do a real vanilla beat. Uh-oh, my phone's ringing. Shit. Where is it?
I don't know. I hear it.
Oh, it's on the floor. Hey, buddy, just come up here. Okay, ready?
I think it in time. I lit out from Reno, I was 12 by 20 hours. Didn't get to sleep last night till the morning came around. Said I'm running, but I take my time. Oh, a friend of a friend of mine. I get home for the night, I just making some sleep tonight. Ran into the devil, baby, only 20 clear. Went to that guitar and camp on the hill. Went out running, never take the time. Oh, friend of a
Got 2 reasons why I wake slowly night. First one named Sweet Emily, she's my heart's delight. Second one is Prison Baby, sheriff's on my trail. If he catches up with me, I'll spend my night in jail. Got a wife and Chino baby, one in Cherokee. First one says she's got my child, it don't look like me. Said I'm running, gonna take my time off. I get home, holding lighter, just like it's a sweet night. Got 2 reasons why I cry, wake lonely night. First one named Sweet Emily, she's my heart's delight. Second one is Prison Baby, sheriff's on my trail. If he catches up with me, I'll spend my life in jail. Got a wife and Chino baby, one Cherokee. First one says she's got my child, it don't look like me. Said I'm running, gonna take my time off. A friend of mine, I get home for the night, I just might get some sleep tonight.
I didn't know you were going back to the bridge.
I was just following
That's all right.
the screen.
See you next week, everybody.
See you guys.